start messy and start scared and start, do something. And when the waves come, because there will be waves, don't be afraid of them. Lean into them, like take a leap of faith, be gritty, stay grounded.
Welcome back to the Running Wine Mom podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Cieslinski, aka the Running Wine Mom. Today, we're diving into a topic that's close to every parent's heart, our children's health and well-being. Joining me today is Michele Grasmick, the president of Toothpillow, a revolutionary telehealth platform that's transforming pediatric airway health and early orthodontic care. We'll explore how Michele's leadership is making waves in the world of children's health, the innovative approaches Toothpillow is bringing to the table, and how these advancements are helping our kids breathe better, sleep soundly, and thrive. So without further ado, let's welcome Michele. Welcome, Michele.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me, Samantha. This is a huge honor. I've been following you and it's like I'm watching you be a mom and thinking, how does she do it? So thanks for having me. You're my advice go-to. Such a pleasure to be here, humbled.
Yes, I am excited. And I love having especially women-owned businesses, women-run businesses
Right.
Just to show that we can truly do it all. And before we get into that, to start each episode, we have our wine, and win of the week segment. That is where we share our favorite bottle of wine or drink, then about something that has been bothering us, and celebrate our recent victory. So grab a glass, take a deep breath, and let's get started. So Michele, what is your drink of the week?
Always a margarita. Sorry, sis. I know you probably have a glass of wine there, but I remember I was like, oh my God, hopefully she's okay with me having a margarita on here.
I love it.
Yeah.
It is margarita season officially, and it's so
Cinco
good.
de Mayo is like the kickoff. It's like, yep, time for margaritas.
Well, cheers. So what is your complaint wine of the week?
I mean, is it like, can we go into we just got over Mother's Day, right? So what is it, over Mother's Day? And it's like the biggest blessing, but also like, unless you decide to like leave your children that day, you're not getting a break, right? So it's like not anything different. But my husband, he really did try, but I just always feel like I put too many expectations on that or something. And I don't know if that's like just me or if that's mom's, but it was still a beautiful day. It went by too fast and I was exhausted. And I think we do too much and really we should just kind of like lean into a break. And so, yeah, I would say that was my like wine of the week is if I could do it again, I might not have put a million things into that day and just took a moment to enjoy a break, enjoy a glass of margarita.
It is. And that's what I feel like I saw all over social media this weekend was like everyone had these expectations and like their significant other didn't meet them or their day wasn't met. And we actually this year, my husband had to work on Mother's Day. So we celebrated it Saturday. And it was actually so nice because I kind of did whatever I wanted during the day. We went out to dinner as a family. It was very relaxing. And then on Sunday, I got to kind of celebrate everybody else, and it was like, I was still celebrated, but like, it wasn't as pressure. Right. So like, I think we're going to celebrate Saturday every year.
That's what it is. It's this pressure that you put on that day, but that's not like, it's so funny how guys are different, right? On Father's Day, it's never like that. So it's just us. It must be us. We have this like weird mom thing, where we like need to feel like we're enough. Right? That's the issue, right? Like, are we enough? And then we like want people to prove it to us that day. Make sure I know I'm enough on this day. And then it's like, you failed at that.
And then you're like, does that mean the other 364 days I'm like not enough because one day, I get it. So what is your win of the week?
I think it's a win every week when I get up in the morning and get to just do the mom thing, and Toothpillow, where I work, really provides the ability for moms to do that. And so I get up, I get to see my son off, and I get to get ready with my daughter. She does makeup with me. She's 18 months old. And then, so just that little moment in the morning to me is a win. If I don't have that, or if somebody schedules a call early for me, get a little grumpy because it's like, that's like my right before the storm. And so, I'd say that's my win every week.
That's wonderful. I know I wish I could spend time with my kids in the morning. I just can't because I'm like up and out by 7 a.m. So,
oh my gosh,
but I do, look forward to the days that I can. So I always like to ask my guests, what is one significant challenge you've successfully navigated, shaping your journey to where you are today?
Right. So, taking a very big leap of faith, I stepped out of my comfort zone to start this company called Toothpillow, right? And I had to do that. I had to leave a really amazing company that really took care of me, was my rock through having both of my babies, where some of my most valued mentors are still crushing it. Samantha, I hope it doesn't sound crass when I say I worked my tail off to be one of the top executive sales there and running a team to success. And we'll chat more about maybe that company a little bit later. But when I say that I was the golden girl there, like if you can work your tail off to be that, I was very blessed to, if I wanted to change something in marketing, I was able to change it. And so for me to get out of that comfort zone and decide I'm going to create a new company, that
Hmm.
was the hardest thing because financially, it shouldn't matter, but there was a huge financial leap of faith there for me as
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide, like, we are very blessed to have another business, but that being said, my income was bringing in a lot of what we needed to survive, especially in this economy. And so
Hmm.
I was just like, I don't know why it just kind of sat on my heart that I needed to do this. But to say it wasn't a challenge is a lie. I left some of the best people in the world. And I knew that, like, when it's like out of mind or whatever that saying is,
Yeah.
I just knew that, like, when I saw them every day, it was one thing. When I went to do this, that wasn't going to be the case. And so
Hmm.
I left a family there. They're still my family. It just wasn't easy. So I would say that's been one of the biggest challenges. But I don't know if you believe in like meant to be's. And,
For sure.
I think God or always has a plan. So here we are, but I remember that being the biggest step out of the boat and walk on water and trust that you can walk on water moment, and it took a lot of grit.
That's
So, I'll say
awesome.
that's it,
I'm
yeah.
so happy. Yes, and I'm excited to talk more about that part.
Yeah.
But first, the running wide mom, we start with a little fitness. What is your favorite way to stay active?
Yeah, I so one thing and this could like qualifies two things is me and my husband go every day from 6 to 7 o'clock mountain. We have my mother-in-law's our babysitter. So we're able to do it. I kind of almost count it like twofold, like a little mini date time with him
Yeah.
because we don't have a lot of time. So for me, that's like really special because we weight lift together. I definitely try to get my sauna time in. They don't have a red light in there, which I want them to upgrade. I do that at night. So that is my fitness right now. I do love pickleball. I played collegiate volleyball. So it's just a little hard with babies, right? Because you almost need a
Hmm.
sitter to go play pickleball. And
Right.
so I miss that. But when I can, I squeeze in a little pickleball and we love to hike. So we hike with the kids on the weekends when we can. That's like, and it's harder, like with a 1 and a 4-year-old, it's like I'm literally carrying both babies the most of the way,
Yeah.
but we still like want them to be out in nature and all the things. So we give it a go, even though we're more exhausted than
Yeah.
we started, right? But those are my fitness
That's
tips and tricks.
awesome.
Get out there. Yeah.
Yeah, we just got back from Shenandoah and I have a 2 and 4-year-old. And it was like, my daughter, we're like, we don't have the book bag for you. Like, even though Parker's in the book bag, like my son or whatever, the backpack.
Right, right,
And
right,
he was like, we're like, come on, you
right,
can do it. And she
right,
gets to the top. She loved she's like, oh, I had
right.
the best week ever. We're like,
Do you have that
God.
thing to carry the 2-year-old on the back?
Yeah, yeah,
How heavy is that? So then, like, your back is breaking, you're going up a hill, and then my 4-year-old can, like, at some point, he's just done. And I'm like,
yeah,
dude, we can't just carry you too. So it's like we have our backpack with all our essentials. We have a two-year
yeah.
old who's 30 pounds on one, and then and then the other one has to be held. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a lot. I know, like, I'm always, like, thankful for, like, the hips or whatever, the waist support of it, but my husband held him for the he held,
Yeah.
Parker because he's, like, 35 pounds, he's big.
Wow.
So so how does maintaining your fitness routine contribute to your relationship with mental health?
I don't know if I think the biggest thing is this like mom guilt that we feel like, and so for me, it's even sometimes a struggle to go do my 1 hour from six
Mhm,
to seven because I'm like, I've already worked all day. And now I'm like
mhm.
prioritizing this hour because I need husband time, but then I also need my mental health fitness time. And so just like talking myself through that. And sometimes it's hard because they're crying while I'm leaving, right? They're like, "You just, like, came back and now, like,"
I know.
and I'm stay-at-home mama, so, like, they see me all day, but then there's, like, a gate there, and so they're peeking through, and I hear them, and they're like, "Mom," and it's just it breaks you, and so that time allows for me to kind of, like, just kinda reboot, and when I get home, it's on. It's
Yeah.
like now my second job, my number 1 job really, and we do all the fun things with them, and we're exhausted, but it's like it's what we do it for, right? So,
Yeah, and it's important for us to, show our kids that prioritizing exercise is really important. My mom always did that, and I
right.
think that's why, like, it's not that I don't feel guilty, but our gym has a really like fun kids club. So I'm like, all right, you guys are going to
Oh,
kids
lucky
club, and
you. Is it like
you can.
Lifetime or something? Yeah.
So it's sort of like Lifetime, but it's an individually owned one. So they kind
Uh-huh,
of can
uh-huh.
do whatever they want, but it's cool. They have like classes for the kids. So like I think
Right.
tomorrow night my daughter's doing like run club. My
That is
son will
so
do like cooking. So it's
that is really
nice.
cool. That is really cool. Yeah, I always like, we're doing tumbling with a one-year-old, and my husband's
Hmm.
like, "What is the point of this?" I'm like, "Because
Yeah.
you want them to, like, do it now because they get in the rhythm," and so it's, like, more for us, really,
Yeah.
but it's necessary. So karate, I will say, like, one tip, like, if you have, like, a son and you're trying to get that focus, the jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, I have a second-degree black belt in taekwondo, so I'm a little privy, but, that's really been helpful for a 4-year-old with focus and
Okay. That's
development
good to, yeah.
issues and stuff, so
My son is a younger one, but my husband has said he like already said like he
awesome.
wants to get him into that 100%. So that's good
And they
to know.
start with, like, small times, Samantha, so it's, like, 30 minutes because their focus is off, so I think you could
Yeah.
start as early as 3, so, yeah, don't be scared.
Oh, I love that. We'll have to look into it. So you kind of touched on your family, but tell us a little bit more about them.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and this is, I think, an important story that ties into everything anyways, but, we really struggled with infertility.
Mm,
We've been together since college, and I'm almost 40. I cannot believe that, like, that's crazy for me. Um, so for us to go 15 years trying, right, and, with PCOS and all the things, and, just never got pregnant, and so I do have a little bit of PTSD from, like, taking pregnancy tests and things like
mhm.
that, and I just remember thinking, like, maybe I'm supposed to adopt a baby. Like, maybe there's a baby there for me, and everybody's like, "Why don't you just do IVF? Why don't you just do IV?" And I'm like, "I just don't know why, but I feel like I'm being called to adopt a baby." And my husband's like,
Okay.
"That's, like, 3 times more expensive," with, by the way, Samantha, that's ridiculous, right?
That's
Because
crazy.
it's crazy. And so, but that being said, like, God will give you when you need. And for whatever reason, that year that we adopted Jagger, we were able to financially afford that. And it was life changing for me. I was 36 years old. I'll never forget when we got a phone call. It was not easy to go through all the steps, but I definitely wanted a baby from birth. And he was on every drug that you can think of. I mean, meth, heroin. It was pretty bad. We didn't know what we were walking into, but, like, I just felt peaceful about it. I can't explain it. Like, I really, it
Mhm.
transcends. And we got there, it was during COVID, so that was a crazy time. It was in Tampa, so he was born in Florida, and, people want you to be mad at that mom
Mhm.
who did that to her child, but to me, this was the most selfless mother. She knew she was sorry, she knew she had an addiction, and she knew she wanted me to be a mom,
Right.
and so, like, I remember the nurses even being, like, a little angry with her and stuff, and I was like, "Stop. This woman," and she could have given this baby to her dad who wanted him, but
Right.
she followed through, and she gave us the biggest gift, and everybody says, "Oh, you saved a baby." No, this baby saved us for sure, hands down.
Oof, I'm like I have the chills right now.
He's everything. He's why I'll tell you why he's a little bit about why Toothpill exists too. There's a big link between, like, when you adopt, you can't breastfeed. So
Mhm.
that's, like, a big, deal for developing jaws and things like that, and I wasn't able to breastfeed him, but he was mine, and he's perfect. He's 4. He has all the boy things now, and then how crazy is this that after that many years of infertility and everybody telling me I was gonna have to have this surgery and that surgery and everything, I thought I was dying, but I was pregnant with my
Oh my
daughter.
gosh.
And, because I'd taken so many tests, Sam, and they were negative, that when I had all these symptoms that everybody was like, "That sounds like pregnancy," I was like, "No, it's cancer. I have stomach cancer, like, it's
I'm
something else.
dying.
Right, I'm dying." And I just remember, like, being so scared to take a test because then it meant, like, if it wasn't that, that I was
Mhm.
dying. And
Yeah.
so I finally had a really good friend, doctor of mine who's a dentist, an airway dentist, say, "You have to do this, Michelle, I'll go with you." And it was the longest 5 minutes of my life. The lady walks in and she goes, the nurse, she goes, "How pregnant are you? I've never seen a pinker line in my life." And I was 13 weeks pregnant. I'd gotten through the first trimester
Shut up.
without knowing. And how weird is this? But because I was so sick, it was like the first time ever that I hadn't had a drink or anything
Yeah.
because I was so sick. And I was like, "I'm dying. I don't even want alcohol anymore."
No margaritas.
And she just knew, my little miracle baby knew that I wasn't supposed to drink.
Yeah.
And so anyways,
My
but that was
gosh.
so it was a cool, it's totally a rainbow story because, like, when it was meant to be, I wouldn't have had Jagger if I
Mhm.
had, you know what I mean? You think of it that way. It's
Right.
like I was supposed to have him, so there
Mhm.
was no baby until I had him, and then all of a sudden it was like it just happened. So
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna say that that's gonna happen for everyone because I know that this is a really touchy subject, but, like, I just challenge any mom who wants a baby, like, don't give up. Like, there's a
Right.
baby out there for you. However, I always thought I'd adopt, but I didn't know I'd start with adoption, and so it's been, I know that's a long
Yeah.
story, but yeah, it's a big
No.
story for my family. So I have 2 babies,
Oh
under
my
4,
gosh.
2 under 4, and me and my husband are navigating that at a very much older age where we're a lot more sore
Yeah.
and mentally a little bit slower, but we're grateful. So, yeah.
So cool. Yeah, as you were saying, one of my best friends is adopted and her and her older sister are adopted and then her parents had two biological after adopting the two. So I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know anyone else who that happened to." And I just think it's so wonderful to do both.
He's
And
not any different. Like, when I say
yeah.
nature versus nurture, it's like such a, like, he's my everything. And how weird is this? Like, we didn't ask for this. We were just kind of really open. And he looks exactly like us more than our
So
biological. It's
cool.
like, how does that even happen? Like, so
Yeah.
we're perfectly blessed. Perfectly blessed.
Yeah. Well, so this might be a loaded question, but what were you least prepared for in parenthood?
I would say the guilt again.
Mhm.
The mom, like, the feeling of not ever having enough to give of yourself when you're trying to manage a career and a new business and 100 employees at work, and then it's like, turn around and now give everything you can, and you just look at them and like, and they're just looking at you like, "I need you, I need you, I need you." And
Right.
I thought, like, there was enough hours in the day to do both. And sometimes
Mhm.
there is, but it's just kind of that feeling in the back of your mind that, like, am I missing the best years of their life?
Right.
Because I really feel called to build this dream that will help many parents. And so that's probably the hardest thing for me. Sleep was
Yeah.
like, everyone's like, "Oh, sleep." I got used to the no sleep.
Yeah, you're like, "No big deal." I know the guilt really is something, and I try to look at it like I don't know any of my friends who don't like their mom as an adult or like have resentment towards their mom as an adult because they were working on something that like was their passion. So I'm like, I try or like something that made them a better person. So that's kind of what I try to keep in mind, even though it's like hard to do,
Yes.
often.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
So what do you think your parenting style is?
Totally, like, laid back until it's not or something. Like, I go with the flow. I was never the mom who's like, I was like, "Here, take my baby." Like, "Here
Yeah,
you go."
yeah.
I just, those things, and get mad at me in the comments or whatever, but it bugs me when moms are, like, very, it's like,
Mhm.
no, like, you want your
Possessive.
baby to not be scared to go to other people, and so I was just very laid back, I would say. And then now I do definitely find myself, like, a little bit, less patient, so, like,
Yeah.
than I was, maybe because of, like, just a little bit of a high stress work environment and everything, and I'm just, like, it's, like, all these things going on, and so just, I would describe myself as a little bit of a little frazzled mama. So frazzled, but
Aren't
laid
we
back.
all, right? Love
There
it.
you go.
So what's one piece of advice that you would give to other parents?
So I would say you don't need to choose between nurturing a family and nurturing a vision. That's my
Mm,
advice. So even though you're going to be frazzled and you're going to have these moments of guilt,
mhm.
like if there's a calling or if you have like this calling on your heart, like go ahead and go with that and let it lead you to your vision is what I would say, because
Yeah.
I'm doing that over here and it's making an impact for sure. And I get chills every time, but my team does a really good job of sending me kind of some of the messages from moms who are just like so grateful for Toothpillow. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
That's amazing. And now we're going to get into Tooth Pillow. Can you kind of take us back to the moment where the idea for Tooth Pillow was born? What personal or professional experiences kind of sparked this innovative
Yeah.
venture?
Yeah. I was at this company that I was the golden girl, right? And we were solving for this educating um dentists to treat patients for sleep apnea with
Hmm.
natural solutions like oral appliance therapy. And it's one of those things that when you see it, you can't unsee it. The things that I learned there about sleep apnea and quality of sleep and those things was just like it was really like it shakes you. It's like if all I could do is treat myself and my family, that was enough for me.
Right.
That's how much
Yeah.
made an impact. And so I just remember thinking if we don't do anything, then nobody's going to know about this and it's just going to keep going in a circle. And what I say when I say that, I mean, we're here educating dentists, but there's not enough dentists doing it. Why? So right now there's less than I want to say there's 200,000 dentists in this country. This is like a stat, and less than 5% do anything with airway and breathing. So if you want to go into an airway dental office, you're like it's a coin toss. It's like playing Russian roulette. And so we kept thinking, well, here we are, we're educating them more than anyone. And my sales team is doing great. And I'm getting doctors to say yes. But it's like of the 200,000 dentists, I have less than 2,000 that are doing anything. So it's like, how is that going to treat the mom in a rural area? So accessibility to this was like a really big deal for us.
Right.
And so Toothpillow is kind of born there. And I remember I was sitting in a hotel with one of my best friends and the CEO of Toothpillow, co-founder, Chad Rasmussen, incredible. And we were both kind of there. And he's like, something needs to shift. We have to bring the patient to the doctor who has decided to do this. And the only way we're going to do that is if we do telehealth. And if we do
Right.
telehealth, then one doctor in a state can treat hundreds. And we have a product for kids that we can do that with very successfully and achieve a good patient outcome with. And so Toothpill was born. And next thing I know, he's going, well, he's the visionary and I'm the relationship girl. I've got the
Yeah.
doctors, he's got the vision. And we're like, so who are these doctors? And so we went and got the top three airway dentists in the country, Dr. Ben Moralia, Dr. Callie Grace Hale, Dr. Kevin Goles. And they all kind of specialize in different parts of age groups and things. And I just remember going, hey guys, do you think this is possible? And we got on a call and they were like, are you kidding me? And I'll never forget Dr. Ben because he's training doctors across the country as fast as he can. And he can only do
Right.
so much. And if this dentist has 2,000 patients, they can only treat the patients in their office. And so it's like,
Right.
how fast can he do that? And he was like, this is going to change the face of just healthcare in general. Like, we are going to be knocking on the door of big pharma because we're getting to the root cause of what the issue is, which is underdeveloped upper and lower jaws, not enough room for the teeth, which is creating all these symptoms for kids, right? That we talk about, like ADD and ADHD, bedwetting, mouth breathing, snoring, restless sleep, nightmares, chronic allergies, depression, anxiety, headaches, right? All of this is kind of like at the root of why these kiddos are having these issues. So Tooth Pillow,
Wow.
we were like, we have to educate moms to then educate their audience so that therefore they know kind of what are some of the solutions, and they're really natural solutions, and we have those
Yeah.
at Tooth Pillow. So.
So, as you mentioned, this is like a very niche but crucial area. What kind of drew you to focus on that specific area of children's health versus maybe something else that is a bigger issue in the children's health world?
Right. So you just can't unsee it, right? Once you hear it,
Mhm.
it's like you're kind of mind effed. It's everywhere. So 9 out of 10 kids crowded crooked teeth. We think it's genetic. It's not genetic. It's the soft food diet. It's the lower rate of breastfeeding due to career oriented moms. So no shame there. But it weakens the tongue and puts it in a low posture, creating this almost retruded, underdeveloped face. And that child has dark circles, is tired, is hyperactive, And I'll never forget one of the lead orthodontists in this space saying to me, Michelle, your teeth don't matter if you can't breathe. We can die
Oh,
with straight, beautiful white teeth because we never address the underdevelopment and help to shape the child's jaw. And that child becomes that adult with underdevelopment who struggles to sleep, have energy, has cardiac problems, diabetes, and all these other comorbidities that shorten their lifespan. And so the shape of their upper and lower jaw shortens their lifespan because they can't breathe. And so their body can't heal. And just thought, yeah, so how do we educate a million moms on this? Because
yeah,
it's preventative versus corrective, right? So if we can get
right.
to it at 3, then maybe this kiddo will never go through that as an adult. So, yeah,
Wow. I mean, I knew that it was an issue if there was, a breathing, when they say, oh, is your child snoring or whatever? Like, I knew there was a little bit of an issue behind if you said yes, but like, I didn't realize it was
right.
that huge of a
It's
deal
not a
that
funny
could
thing.
lead it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we see it in, like, Disney characters, and we always, like, joke, and it's, like, a funny thing, but it's a bigger problem when we see it in even in an adult, right?
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, my husband snores," and then you're like, "Oh, yeah, it's annoying, and I can't sleep," but it's like, "Well, do you like him enough to fix him?" Because
Right.
that's really shortening his life. If he continues to do that, he's not getting enough oxygen to his brain, and so we want husbands to be nasal breathing, right? So, and it happens to be more in men because they have the thicker neck and some of the things. But I'll be honest with you, I see so many really fit women who have upper respiratory issues and end up having sleep apnea as well. So it's everywhere, and so just getting checked, right? So we wanted to
Mhm.
provide a way to do that virtually for patients.
Right. So, in a world filled with orthodontic solutions, what really sets Tooth Pillow apart in its approach to early intervention and jaw development?
Yes, early intervention, gentle guided growth with appliances that naturally take the weight of the cheeks off the teeth to help the
Hmm.
tongue up into the right place so that the child can breathe through their nose and get into that deeper, restful, better quality oxygenated sleep. We really try to get ahead of the issues before that child needs braces. So, braces straighten teeth in a jaw that is too small. We need to grow the
Okay.
jaw to the proper size, and then we can align the teeth if there's still a need. But how funny that often, if we start early, we can get ahead of the symptoms that I mentioned to you that are attached to that underdevelopment. But we can also get all the 32 teeth to come into proper space that they were meant to. So it's like we don't
Yeah.
have to extract the teeth. We don't need wisdom teeth extractions. So it's funny how treating the root allows for the true genetic potential of that child. And a lot of just providers aren't even aware of that.
Right.
So interesting.
So, how do you envision Tooth Pillow reshaping the conversation around children's sleep and breathing health in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I love that question, Sam, because right now, too many providers normalize things to parents that aren't normal, like snoring, mouth
Hmm.
breathing, bedwetting, night terrors, poor focus, and they're all deeply tied to the airway and the breathing. So, our vision is for Tooth Pillow to lead kind of a national shift where airway and sleep become part of every child's wellness check. And it's not just an afterthought. So, we're not just treating, we're educating. In 5 years, I would really want pediatricians, teachers, parents to speak a shared language about breathing and sleep quality, the same way we already kind of do about nutrition or vaccine.
Right.
So, Tooth Pillow will, God willing, be the trusted brand guiding families from babyhood through adulthood.
And it is absolutely wild to me that it is not a part of the, normal pediatric appointment. Like, we
Not at
need to
all.
breathe to live. And
Right. Well, they don't check tongue ties yet, and they say that you'll grow out of a tongue tie, but if a baby can't latch and breastfeed
Mhm.
properly, Samantha, it's like then they don't get a breastfeed. And it's
Right.
like, wow. So we're like, grow out of what? If they have a posterior tongue tie, they're not suckling properly. So then the mom's not creating enough milk. And so there's just really nice, simple things we could do. I am obsessed with lactation specialists. They are doing some incredible things
Mhm.
to get moms on the right path. So just I'm not saying don't trust your pediatrician, just also inquire a little deeper if you're struggling to breastfeed, because that is like, we know there's just so many benefits to that. But that being said, no shaming. I was a formula mom. I love the right baby formulas, and fed is best, right? We talk about fed is best. And the good news about Tooth Pillow is we'll come back and we'll be able to take that child who might have the underdevelopment and get them back on the right track. So at the end of the day, if you need to, bottle feed your baby. But then maybe let's teach them baby led weaning to chew better. And chewing dysfunction is even worse, right? So we can like help get the child chewing properly. They're getting more foods. Kind of a cool point here is like if you have a picky eater,
Hmm.
typically it's an airway issue. So if they have
Oh,
less than 20 foods, the struggle is because they're suffocating while they're trying to eat. So they're scared, they're protecting their airway. So here we think we have this picky eater, and it's actually because they're chewing dysfunction there. And so when we get that tooth pill guide in there and it takes the pressure off the cheeks and they start to grow that palate to where it should be, all of a sudden you notice you have a child that's getting better nutrition because they're going for the foods that typically you'd want them to eat, but they're going for the dino nugget or the mac and cheese or the french fries. And you're getting frustrated as mom. You're like, why can't I get them to eat vegetables? And you're trying to make them into the shape of a dino nugget. It's really it's true that the shape is what allows for them to breathe while they're eating. It's where they're putting it and positioning into their mouth. So yeah, I mean, these are great questions. It's you just don't know what you don't know, right?
another thing I did not know nor have ever heard about, which
Right.
is that, yeah,
You're
this
applying
will be
this to
great.
your son and your daughter. You're like,
Yeah,
yeah, no, absolutely.
makes sense. So, as a mom, how has your perspective on children's health and wellness influenced the development and mission of Toothpillow?
So, I would just say that with my son, right? That has been a big thing. I just really wanted to make sure that other moms had the ability to hear about this. So, we use influencers in this space. And sometimes that's like kind of looked poorly upon, but we really truly would rather use a mom's voice who somebody
Hmm.
trusts like yourself, right? You have followers who trust you because of who you are, the research you've done. They're going to buy a product, they're going to buy it from you because you've done it and they see how you've raised your family, and to that us that's very special. And so we wanted to use those moms to get the voice out there, or dads, right? Moms or dads. And it's like I'd rather do that than pay Facebook or to kind of
Right.
do that. And so our mission was to use influencers to educate moms nationwide, just exactly the way I'm over here doing this with you, the way that it impacted my son and why I wish more moms knew. And they're using their platforms to do that for us really well. And it's getting out there and moms are questioning like, why is my orthodontist not talking to me about this? Why is
Right.
this pediatrician telling me my child's going to grow out of this? And it's like, no, yeah, like I'm glad you're asking that question. Toothpill is here to say we need to start now because underdevelopment starts in the womb. There's things that we
Yeah.
could do with our diet when we're pregnant to actually shape the child's jaw. So, and I think
No
that
way.
just having a resource and a place to go to answer those questions, like you're on baby list, you're buying product. What if
Hmm.
Toothpillow can give you recommended product from the top lactation specialist, the top IBC, the top speech language pathologists, the OTs, the infant PTs, and the airway dentist? And it's like now that's the tool because just the shape of that bottle nipple was enough to be able to offset the fact that you couldn't breastfeed, but you didn't know it.
Yeah.
So you bought that
Right.
nipple. So we just wanna give some options and set moms on the right track, and these influencers are helping us with that mission.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's like, oh, even with, me sharing with my kids, it's like, oh, you get, like, you shouldn't be doing that. But I think building a community of mothers and building trust in them is so important. And I, like myself, like I share products our kids love and use. And just like with this, I'm learning so much from you that I had no idea about. And I know there's so many listeners that are going to also learn as well, which
Right.
is super important.
And
And
so
it's a way to
7
get
years
it's a way to
ago,
get it
when I
out.
had that thought, I thought,
Yeah.
"How do I get this to millions of mom?" And that was where
Mhm.
Toothpill was born. It was like,
Right.
have to figure it out. And not everybody has a vision like that and it takes off, but with the doctors that we have here, I knew it
Right.
would happen. I just knew it. So
Yeah. So what are some things that moms can do when they're pregnant that can help with jaw development
yeah, so it's
and
just
proper oral?
diet related really, and
Right.
because so when we are pregnant, because we have that pressure, like, we're
Mhm.
going to have more sleep apneic events. So, an apnea is us stopping breathing for 10 seconds or more. So as
Okay.
moms go through into the third trimester, a lot of times they can't sleep, but it's because they're not breathing as well. They're mouth breathing because they
Right.
can't breathe through their nose because they're congested. Like how many moms get so congested in here? And so it's just making sure that you have that proper like
Mhm.
diet where you're eating grass-fed meats and if you are a meat eater and just really protein and things like that will kind of help guide the growth of the jaw that way. And then it's as soon as you give birth, assessing the ties, making sure
Mhm.
your child doesn't have tongue ties or lip ties, and getting them the proper latch, trying to breastfeed as long as you can. And then there's just these a couple tools that you could be using as they're getting their first teeth. So 4 to 5 to 6 months that start to promote the chewing function, different toys that are shaped a certain way. Like we even talk about bibs, right? We have those silicone bibs that you put
Mhm.
on and they weigh that so much that they pull the child's neck down. And when we do that, then they're not able to breathe while they're eating. So it constricts their airways. Like just choices that you can make that you just might not otherwise have known. Fruit pouches get a really bad name, right? Because it's pureeing the food. It takes out the nutrition.
Mhm.
It adds to the amount of sugar and the way we process that sugar. And it's really taking away from the way the child needing to chew. So we really want them to
Mhm.
chew. So a hard food diet. So give them a piece of steak, cut it the right way. Solid starts is I love solid starts because they use the proper sized foods and things like that. Easy Peasy has incredible tools. If you've ever heard of Easy Peasy, they
Mhm.
develop everything with the airway in mind. Their inventor is the top feeding trauma therapist and SLP. Her
Wow.
name is Dawn Winkleman. She's incredible. She designs all their products. So I'm pitching it because if I was to want a baby shower gift, this is what I would want because it's
Yeah.
promoting proper jaw development for my child and airway development so they can get into deep sleep. So we have less likelihood of SIDS and oxygen deprivation during the night and the things we worry about, right? So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, we use Solid Starts was such a cool app for me. All my both my kids did 100 foods before one,
best.
and I just felt like it relieved so much um like pressure and stress from me. And I had Solid Starts on my podcast not last summer but
Cool.
the summer
Yeah,
before.
one of their
Yeah,
OTs.
and
I love them.
yeah, it was just and then we had the easy peasy stuff too. Now that like that you say that, I'm like, "Oh yeah,
That's
we had
cool.
I forgot about that
Yeah.
stuff, but we loved it."
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Yeah, and Toothpillow wants to add on top of that. It's like so they have, like, these apps that help moms. It's like, what if we can help with the oral
Yeah,
development milestones that a child needs to be able to be healthy too, so that we can identify the symptoms early because we don't wanna end up with a picky eater. And so
right.
we want them to have proper nutrition. So if we could do something between 7 to 6 or 0 to 6 months and then 6 to 12 months to get them on that right track, that's the goal.
And it's something that I mean, I would use as a mom if I had a newborn, an app like that to, just show me because I have no idea what I don't know, my baby's breathing. I guess they're all right.
Yes.
They're
Yeah,
like
and that is true. That is true.
right,
Yeah, but it's just like you don't know what you don't know until you do, and you can't unknow it. It's like, I'm gonna give
which
you more.
yeah, and on it, kind of piggybacking off of that, in your opinion, what are some common misconceptions parents have about children's oral and airway health?
I think that they just kind of trust, like, the outlet to, like, give
Mhm.
them those, like, details and stuff, and so it's like and I think they we do just trust the pediatrician that our kiddos will outgrow things, and
Mhm.
so, like, I think shifting that mentality a little bit into
Right.
we do need to dig a little deeper and if we notice these things and our intuition as moms is there not beating yourself up if you haven't heard about it yet either but just being like
Right.
now if you hear this if your child's mouth breathing that's a I've heard so one of my favorite things that Dr. Ben Riley says is mouth breathing is stage 1 cancer and it just
Wow.
hits you right because you're like what does that even mean and it's because that's just like the start of so many other issues in your
Issues.
life that is a domino effect. And so and the mouth breathing leads to the snoring, leads to right, the
Mhm.
grinding, then they're grinding because they're trying to get air and oxygen in the brain. So if your child's grinding, that's not normal. So just kind of really like watching your child sleep. Right. And seeing that
Yeah.
things might not be right. And so, they're always going to mouth breathe when they're sick and they have nasal issues. So, nasal hygiene, just one really simple thing get those boogers out of there, get them breathing through their nose. So, yeah, just the tips and
Cool.
tricks.
Awesome. And how can you suggest to parents on how to approach the topic of oral health with their children to make it more engaging rather than daunting? Because you hear, I don't hate the dentist. Everyone's like, oh, everything with your oral teeth and breathing. It's just
Right.
kind of,
That, like,
I
the
mean, it's
happy visit,
miserable when it's not. Yeah.
so you would say, like, so I would say getting them in earlier
Hmm.
to desensitize them from it being a fearful thing, right? And I really love that our doctors do happy visits, but I would do a happy visit way before they recommend it. Go in there and the doctor's like, "Cool, well, they're just gonna charge you to have your kiddo play with stuff." But it's like, let them touch, let them feel, let them, get acquainted with kind of what the dental office looks like. And the most important thing is finding an airway dentist. Gosh, you just really want that dentist that's cognizant of that. And dentists really have two choices. They can either do this or they can refer to somebody who does. But they have to be checking the foundation and they have to be able to see if that child has a high V-shaped vaulted palate, if they have enough room for their tongue. And if your dentist isn't doing that, well, the American Dental Association is telling them they have to right now. So just kind of like going in and making sure you have that right person in your corner. And if they don't, then you know what? Tell them that they should get that and you want to keep seeing
Hmm.
them and challenge them to go get that education or ask them for a referral to somebody who does, right? So
Right. Yeah, that's super helpful. So, looking ahead, what innovations or expansions do you foresee for Tooth Pillow in the realm of pediatric health?
yeah, we're developing like a stage-based app for moms and babies
Hmm.
and toddlers to track the jaw development from infancy. We're also growing our virtual provider network across all 50 states, even more so to give families access to early screenings and education kind of gentle intervention before braces or surgery ever become necessary. I would like really just before you ever put your kid under, right? It's like, and I have to just disclaimer, I'm not giving medical advice here, but if you have somebody recommending tonsil and adenoids removal, it's if you don't treat the root cause, which is the airway issue, the child's going to keep mouth breathing and those tonsils and adenoids grow back. So you're putting your child under voluntarily and you may need to end up doing another surgery because that doesn't treat the mouth breathing. So we need to then treat the foundation, get the jaw development there, and then we've actually saved a lot of parents from doing the surgery. Being able to get them into guidance therapy with Tooth Pillow. It's 24-month treatment plan. They get this cute box delivered to their house, and we have all of the stuff attached to it, like the fun games for compliance. They wear it at night, they wear it for an hour during the day, and we really see huge changes in the kiddos. And the symptoms are the most fun to see the changes in, but you see it in the teeth too. So the combination of the two are huge. So I would say that, and then our goal is to meet moms where they are, build trust early, become a go to for the whole child wellness through the lens of the airway and jaw development space. So kind of like pediatric health a little bit redefined because I think that this is the reason we're going to the pediatrician all the time because our kids are sick.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
getting sick again and again and again because they can't breathe properly and they can't just manage their own bodies.
Yeah. It's so, I mean, I know I said it before, but just how much is connected to the breath with all of the sickness and
Yeah.
behavioral issues. Wow. So, what legacy do you hope to leave through your work with Tooth Pillow and beyond?
I have a number in my head that we're going to treat at least 5 million kids in the next 5 years.
Hmm.
And then we're gonna prevent a generation of kids ever needed treated is our
Yeah.
goal. So then that's touching on the babies because I think we
Yeah.
should go for the babies. And then we're gonna correct adults who have struggled with this their whole life because they had retractive traditional orthodontics and, headgear and all the things which made for less space in their mouth and the inability to really get into deep healing sleep. And so now they have all these struggles in adulthood and they can't get pregnant because they have infertility issues because they're underdeveloped and right. It's just this whole thing. And it's not just one piece, there's other things, but I think if we treat the sleep issue, then a lot of the others can go away. So if
Can
people can do that, that's hopefully the legacy.
Wow. Well, you have told us so much and you are making such a difference in the world. But for listeners who are inspired by your journey, what advice would you offer to those looking to make a more meaningful impact in their community or industries like you're doing?
All right. All right. So maybe start with the problem that keeps you up at night and don't wait for permission to solve it. Toothpillow didn't come from a perfect plan. It came from our hearts and like this relentless, gritty drive to fix something that we knew was broken. If there's a problem in your world that won't let you sleep, don't wait for someone more qualified to fix it. Start messy and start scared and start, do something. And when the waves come, because there will be waves, don't be afraid of them. Lean into them. Like, take a leap of faith, be gritty, stay grounded. You know, you don't need to be like the smartest, because I'm definitely not the smartest or most funded person, right? Like, we didn't have a lot of money starting this vision. So you just need to really like want to do it, right? And show up.
Mhm.
So I would say that.
Wow. Well, that is a great way to end it. So thank you, Michelle, for all of this
Yeah.
wonderful
Yeah.
information that you've given.
Sure. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I thank you so much, Sam, for having me. This is like, I need to get out of my comfort zone more often and have a margarita and get on a podcast.
There you go. Well, you did amazing. And it's incredible to learn how Toothpillow is not just addressing dental health, but it's also making significant strides in improving our children's overall well being through better breathing and sleep. Remember, as parents, staying informed and proactive about our children's health can make all the difference. As always, thank you for spending this time with us on The Running Wine Mom. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review if you loved it, and share this episode with a mom who needs to hear it. You can follow me on Instagram at the running wine mom _ And Michelle, where can the listeners find you?
Yeah, they can social media, Toothpillow is there, toothpillow.com. And I think we're like on Twitter and YouTube. We've got some really cool podcasts with some of the top airway dentists in the country. I have like no followers and I'm okay with that. I just kind of want to stay in my bubble. If anybody wants to get a free assessment for their kiddo, then I would love for them to use your name. So Running Wine Mom for a free $50 video personalized from a doctor. If
Okay.
they submit their child with that, they can go on
Okay.
toothpill.com, is my child a candidate, and they'll throw up a couple photos and our doctors will do a full assessment and give them a diagnosis for their child and next steps. So if you're open for that, we'll do that for your listeners.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I will link all of that in the show notes and obviously share it out on my socials as well. So I hope listeners that you take advantage of that and I'll put the code in there as well. So thank you for that, Michelle.
You're welcome.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, you are strong, you are capable, and you are all amazing. Until next time, keep running, keep sipping, and keep embracing the joy of motherhood. Cheers. And I will be back next Tuesday.